right. Welcome to the Chronic Health Collective show. This isn't just a community, it's your fresh start. And we've gathered the best coaches and experts to help you reclaim your energy, heal from the inside out, and live with purpose. Whether you're longing for more energy, deeper healing in your relationships, or life that feels more aligned and fulfilling, you're not alone anymore. I'm Dawn, and I'm your host for today. And I am a guide and author who explores the intersection of emotional awareness, self trust, and holistic well being through honest, grounded conversations. And today I have with me my sister, Alyssa Gampong, who
Yeah.
specializes in behavioral health, and she works with autistic folks. And so today's episode, what we're going to talk about, this month's theme is about love, compassion, and connection. And I had just watched this movie called The Cleanse, and I texted Elisa, and I'm like, "Hey, you
Mhm.
gotta check this out." And so she finally watched it, like I think the same day or the next
I,
day,
I
and
think it was
like
the same day.
we just had like a really brief conversation about how interesting the our both of our perspectives were about this movie. And I was like, okay, I have to do this podcast coming up. And I was like, you know what, it makes total sense to focus on the compassion part and the relevance of this movie. So the basic premise of the movie is the cleanse. So many of us are very attracted to going to retreats, to do some spiritual or emotional healing. And there's always a process of purging, right? We're trying to release of what holds us back or what is keeping us toxic. And so the movie does that. And it has some twists and turns in it. And it was like really, really interesting. And I watched it with my partner, and it was so funny because his perspective at the end of the movie was so different from my perspective. And for me, it was very eye awakening because I felt like um, it's a great analogy of what many of us are trying to explain about our healing process. And so the let's get into it. So Alisa, what was like the one thing in the movie that stood out for you in the beginning, like when they got there
Mhm.
and they showed how they were like, in their I would call it the valley of despair, right? In their lowest
Oh
times
my
in their
God.
life.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they discover this retreat that they can go to. um in your own life, have you ever experienced having that kind of like invitation to finally make a change in your life of where you're at, where that's something that you're not happy with?
I have, okay, two things came to mind. The first time was when I was like 19 and I was straight out of high school and it's first time in college. And I think that was my first introduction to actually like church and like religion because I hadn't grown up that way. So I
Mm-hmm.
actually tried going to a lot of different churches and having that experience, but that wasn't for me. Like I found that it wasn't actually my thing. And then it wasn't until like 6 years later that I was kind of desperate because I was like at actually a high point in life. I was like in California away from home and I was getting my master's degree. So I should have been really happy. But underneath it, I was like so miserable. So like out of desperation, I wasn't like invited to anything, but I guess I was in, what did you call it? The low valley, the
The
valley
valley
of
of despair.
despair. It felt like a valley of despair. So like seeking it out on my own was my introduction to therapy. So that's what
Mhm.
it kind of brought to mind for me was it didn't come to me, but I went to it. But that was like my journey of trying to get out of it.
And in your profession in behavior health, what gravitated you towards a career like that?
Children. So I work with autistic youth. And it was something that actually my friend does, and she thought that I would do really well, being with this very vulnerable population, and working with kids because she calls me very childlike and she thought that I would just like blend well with it. But for
Mhm.
years, for like 6 years, I was like, I'm not mature enough for that. I'm not patient enough for that. But then after moving home from California, I found that after a lot of my own therapy, after my own healing, I felt safe enough and confident enough to actually like pursue helping littles because I had taken care of my own little.
Mhm.
um so yeah, I guess I just grew up and I felt capable and I found myself in a lot of these kids who cannot control their tantrums and their big emotions. And
Mhm.
it's like taking care of little me like every day. Like, going like nuts and just needing a hug. So it's a little bit therapeutic for me too and like self-healing almost every
Mhm.
day. It's like
Mhm.
facing myself every day.
Right. I would say that that is one of the best things that we can do is be of service to other people and finding more compassion in that and seeing how the impact we can make on other people is
Mhm.
just an automatic boost in helping us remove some of the limiting beliefs that we have
Mhm.
in ourselves, right? Because
Mhm.
again, it's we lack that self-love and that compassion for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's great, that's great. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you got into something like that and you found a career that's very purpose driven.
Yeah.
um, so going back to the to the movie, um, so how do you see self-compassion function as a form of like the nervous system, like, right? Because it's the nervous system tries to keep us safe when we're in despair times, right? And
Mhm.
so especially
Yeah.
like for people who believe they need to be fixed
Mhm.
before they're even worthy of being loved or
Yeah.
even loving themselves.
Yeah. You know what I found fascinating about the movie is that okay, so in the movie, right, these little creatures are the negative emotions. But when I think of self-compassion, it would be confusing, right? Because you think that those creatures are part of you, and they are in the movie. And you would think that self-compassion is you have to embrace all these things that you thought were yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they complicate it, right? Because what's the main character's name? Paul has
Mm-hmm.
self-compassion for his creature. He actually does. But
Yeah.
he embraces it to the point of he would have kept it and it would have destroyed him.
Right.
And the
Right.
female character, oh my gosh, what is her name? Maggie.
Maggie.
And Maggie had the complete opposite idea of self-compassion, where she immediately rejected it. And was the first one of the two of them to like she ran from it twice and then she's like literally trying to bludgeon it with a rock. So she absolutely had zero compassion for herself. And yet ironically, for both of them, running from self-compassion and the type of self-compassion like destroyed both of them.
Right.
Like,
Right.
ironically, like doing both
Right.
of it. But I think I love the idea that it's okay to embrace that negativity. So like how Paul embraces the creature and he loves it
Mm-hmm.
and then comes to that realization of like, okay, I loved you, but you gotta go now. 'Cause that was because now you're too dangerous. Like, and I think it is dangerous to think of those negative parts of you as part of your personality as opposed to like this is something that I can change or this is something that doesn't have to stay with me.
Right. So, yeah, so in the movie, right, part of the purge is that it actually manifested a physical form of what all the toxic and emotions that was building up inside them. And it was really grotesque.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
grotesque, but yet when they, and it freaked them out a little
Mhm.
bit, right, in the beginning. But then it was familiarity, right? The
Yeah.
pain, it was that's what it was, and that's why they had compassion for it, because what most of us does is that we carry around this pain with us, or whatever it is, right? Negativity
Mhm.
around with us, inside of us, for so long that we self-identify with that
Mhm.
pain. And so I think one of the struggles that they had the most, right, and one of the reasons why they couldn't release that is because if they were to release that pain, then who
Mhm.
am I now without it? And that's
Yeah.
the biggest struggle, I think. Oh,
Really.
look, you got a fur baby
I
behind you.
He's sleeping. He's sleeping.
Just in time. Right? So it's like, yeah, who am I? And I think that's where everyone gets a little bit confused, because there's so many people out there going, okay, hey, find your passion, find your purpose, and
Mhm.
then everything will work out fine. But and then there's also, you have to let go of your past, you have to let go of your limiting beliefs. But at
Mhm.
the same token, it's like, if you don't know who you are and you
Mhm.
release something, it doesn't feel as a release. It's more of an erasure. Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
erasing your identity of who you've always
Yeah.
known to be, of suffering.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. Yeah. Exactly what you said. Yeah.
So I think, in a process like this, when it comes to self healing, I think there's always like just three easy steps, I think, to make things simple, because there's like so many different programs out there, and it's like a 20-day cleanse, a 30-day, a 90-day, whatever it is. And
Mhm.
I've been doing this kind of work for a while, and I'm on a mission of proving that it doesn't take that long, and that it really is a simple shift,
I
a
like that
simple
because that
mind
is what.
shift, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's more for advanced level type of stuff, for people that have been working on it. But I think the first step is the willingness, and having the choice to make that change for yourself.
Mhm.
Because, again, it's like, if I was, the guide or the counselor, or even like for you in what you do in your profession, when
Mhm.
we're forcing people and we're trying to instill things that we think is best for them, they're the ones making the choice, right?
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
of self-healing. And so when it's forced upon them, that negative energy tries to protect them, right? That
Oh, that's
identity
so
of that
right.
self try to protect them from
Yeah.
improving. I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you think?
No, I totally agree with that. Just because you brought that up too, I was just thinking, forcing, right? Forcing somebody to try to like get through something, it never works. It just intensifies that emotion. And, part of what I do is like when there is pain, when there is big emotions, big hurt, for it doesn't even matter what the reason for it is.
Hmm.
We just sit there with them
Right.
and, help them realize that there is a safe space for those things to occur, and it's gonna pass,
Hmm.
and I'll be here with you. You're still safe. Like you're it's gonna be okay. And I feel like that's a practice that I definitely didn't get growing up.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
definitely hiding a lot of things, never talking about big emotions. So a
Hmm.
lot of things for me feel really big, no matter what that emotion is. And a part of, I think, what I'm also still learning, even if I do this in my work every single day, is that they're actually not as big as you as they feel in your body. And I think it only feels big because it is so stuck in me. And
Hmm.
I was thinking to myself watching the movie, I was like, yeah, I do need some kind of cleanse. It needs to leave my body somehow. And we were before we started this, you were talking about jumping on a trampoline where like you feel like a kid. I was
Yeah.
thinking, for me, it's jumping on a trampoline for sure. Because there's something about like physically like moving your body, um, releases a lot of things. For me, it's like randomly like dancing or like singing as like a
Mm-hmm.
mood as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it reminded me of I don't know if you've read A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Mm-mm.
But he talks about the eagle and your pain body. So your pain body is like what the creatures are. It's old emotions
Mm-hmm.
um, stuck in your body. And he talks about how birds, when birds go through like traumatic stuff, they flap their wings to like let it leave their body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's like stuff like that. I noticed that I'll do that at work too. It's not even part of like officially what my job is, but I'll have my kids like run around if if
Mm-hmm.
they're like feeling too much, and I have to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all about energy, right? Because when you are moving and when we're moving, constantly moving, our energy is flowing. So we have a better flow of what's going, our energetic flow. And
Mm.
when that is happening, time doesn't exist. Do
Oh
you
my gosh.
realize that time, right? Because you're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like where did the time go, right? That's the one thing
Mhm.
that we say. So that's why for folks that are constantly stagnant and they don't have that ability to always be moving around, that's the
Mm.
ones that have the most difficulty in their healing process. But great stopping point. We'll continue this conversation. We have to go to our first break, and we'll be right back. If you were born between December 22nd, 1973 and January 1974, this message is for you. You're entering one of the most powerful energetic windows of your lifetime, your Chiron return. The Chiron return is a cycle where the wounds we've carried for decades rise to become our greatest wisdom. 2026 is your year of preparation, a time to release what no longer resonates, rebuild your energetic foundation, and realign with your truth. Because in 2027, everything changes. I'm Dawn, and I'm just like you. I've lived the perfectionism, the control, and been accused of being emotionally detached. And I've learned that they were never flaws, they were survival codes. Now they're being rewritten. We'll use tools like quantum evaluation, creative emotional wizardry, and principles of parallel realities to help you shift timelines, from exhaustion to embodiment, from structure to sovereignty. 2026 is a year of preparation, and 2027 is a year that everything changes. And you, the Capricorn women born in 1974, are the architects of that new era. I'll see you in my Zen Heart community as we realign, recalibrate, and get ready for what's unfolding.
When you look in the mirror, do you see skin that's just dry, tired, and stressed? It's time for a new ritual. Introducing Deep Love, the blue botanical face cream by Coolness. We've captured their tranquil essence of blue botanicals in a cloud-soft formula that deeply soothes irritation and restores your natural, healthy glow. This isn't just skincare, it's an act of self-care. It's deep love. Find your calm only at coolness.com. Scan the QR code now to visit our website.
All right, welcome back. That was a great first segment.
Nice, nice. I think it's so fun. Anytime movies, love it. Love it.
Did you want to add something else about the energetic flow?
Um, no, I feel like maybe I got everything out, but
Okay. All right. So, the second part of the movie. So once they had released and they have this, physical manifestation of, the negativity or the things that they needed to release from their body, then they started to bond with it, and it's like your whole hero's journey, right? You're kind of in denial. It's like it's there. I don't, I'm protective of this. I don't want to change. You're just trying to harm me more, and I want to
Mhm.
just, stay in my misery. But they
Mhm.
also have their choice of, and what the process was from the person that designed that program was they wanted them to physically kill this little grotesque creature that they found cute, and they
Right.
found it really hard to do that. And you're right. The gal, she was like, initially she was like, "Oh my gosh, what the hell is that?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the guy was like, "Oh no, it's not so bad. It's not so bad." And
Yeah.
then she actually started to actually feel some compassion for her, which was really, really, really bizarre.
Yeah.
And then they showed another guy that was part of the camp that was there for a while. He did his purge, and
Mhm.
he couldn't go and finalize the process. And his little grotesque, what kind of looked cute in the beginning,
Mhm.
started to get bigger and bigger. And in
Yeah.
addition to that, it started to physically harm that individual. What do
Right.
you think about that piece?
Gosh, I love it so much. Like, I love that representation of what all the things that you deem as like harmful to you, like mentally, right? Manifest
Mhm.
itself literally. And it felt like relatable, because kind of like what we were talking about earlier of it like being a part of your personality. So
Mhm.
you try to embrace it and you do love it because it's all you've ever known. And I think you used the word what was it? It's like it's safe for you and it's familiar was what you
Mhm.
used earlier. So I get why that guy chose to keep his for so long, and then ultimately, right? It's his demise.
Yeah.
So he becomes his own demise, and
Mhm.
but I love it that they start out really cute. I think that was the movie to make these creatures adorable and vulnerable to begin with, because that is what those things feel like, and that's why you become so attached to them.
Mhm.
Um, but what it was also making me think was, first of all, it reminded me of Gremlins, how Gremlins like start out really cute. These monsters, I was like, oh, that's like the cleanse too. That's like if you cleansed and instead of one entity, like imagine if like every traumatic event or every memory came out of you instead. And then they like just but um but anyway, but I love that representation. And even, in the end of the movie when their two creatures combine together, that resonated with me because it reminded me of like one of my biggest relationships and how it resonated because yeah, our two creatures fed each other. And I
Mhm.
think I was in a relationship for super long because it felt familiar, as dangerous as it was. We didn't
Mhm.
realize that we were feeding into this idea of who we already thought we were.
Mhm.
And so it felt safe. But I think once you shine a light on it and you begin to cleanse, then you're like, oh, wait, I'm in danger here. And this part is and the hardest part is to leave it, and to bludgeon it. What an extreme way to
Mhm.
to show it, but it's a horror, so you have to make it extreme.
Mhm. Mhm. And I think that's so true, right? Because we all carry our own little grotesque creature, our things that we need to purge. and our environment, who we surround ourselves by, the content that we consume, and this is talked about a lot, really has an impact on our well-being. And I watched something yesterday on my way driving to work. I mean, driving home from work,
Mhm.
and it was talking about how we shouldn't sleep with the television on, or if you're going to be very mindful of what's running in the background, because
Yeah.
even if our body physically is sleeping, our brain doesn't, right? So the subconscious is omnipresent, is constantly working all the time. It never shuts down. And so you don't realize that when you're asleep, there's things that's, being fed into your brain while you're sleeping. And when I thought about that, I'm like, oh man, when I reflected on it, because my partner loves to watch sports, right?
Uh-huh.
Like in the middle of the night, and I'm already sleeping. But at the end of all those programs, then you have all these infomercials about identity theft and all this negative stuff, or this stupid cheesy shows like Cheaters, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that makes so much sense of the craziness of some incidents that we had, of crazy conversations. Like, it's because of this stupid things that's been
Yeah.
feeding into his head while we're sleeping.
That's funny. Oh my God.
So it's like, okay, I'm going to be more intentional. It's like, I'm going to put something, like, I'm going to put YouTube on, and I'm going to have it like, some sound meditation.
Yeah, something better. Make me rich. That's what I'm
Yeah.
putting.
Yeah. But going back to the movie, the other part of the movie that I found really bizarre was, there was a couple, right? And they
Mhm.
went there, and it really was the girlfriend who wanted the boyfriend to go there because he was the one that she felt needed to be fixed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he went and he finished his process, and she didn't finish her cleanse as she was instructed. And
Mhm.
because she didn't follow the instruction, that she didn't purge the stuff she held on to, because she was in denial to know that she herself really needed stuff that needed to be purged, that she
Yeah.
ended up losing her life, right? So there's a choice in what we do, where if we don't make the choice to better ourselves or address the things that need to be addressed, our body does the deciding for us. And that's what happened with her. And I think for me, that resonated very well when I had my own tumor that was removed, right? Like, because before that, I would say a good 5 years before finding out that I had that GIST tumor, I was going through a lot of emotional trauma. Like, I was like at a really high in my life, where I was around a group of people where I felt ignited. I felt I was in a profession that, I was going to do really well. But again, your environment, you don't realize that you think those people around you has your best interest at heart, and they really didn't. and
Yeah.
and it's so important to identify and recognize when you're in an environment with of people who are truly happy for the success that you have, and not
Mhm.
be silently jealous.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? And so it took me a good 5 years to recognize really that is what the issue was. But when I made the conscious choice of walking away from that group, but again, it's like that release and not identifying with who I was. When I walked away, again, I didn't know who I was now without
Yeah.
being around them. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Who am I? And so that took a while, and my body finally said, "Hey, stupid, snap out of it. I'm gonna make you sick, so you can have gratitude for everything that you should be grateful for." Like,
Mhm.
these people, sorry, my language, sorry, kind of
No.
keep it PG, but really,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Right? So yeah, if you don't decide, your body will decide for you.
That's so true. Was there a moment that made you realize you had to walk away? Like, what was the thing that told you, hey, this isn't for me?
Because I know myself really well, and I know that I'm not afraid of hard work. I know when I'm excited or genuinely excited about something, because again, it's about momentum. time doesn't exist, and I found myself constantly struggling and forcing myself to just show up every day. And then I questioned myself, like, okay, I'm showing up, but who am I showing up for? Is it for myself, or is it out of obligation for the others, right? And when I recognized that, I was like, oh, this is not going in the right direction. Time
Yeah.
to pivot, time to
Yeah.
pivot. And so I did, and it was so crazy because my mind, and this is the, I think, so the first part of healing process is about the willingness, right? But then what also needs to happen is the witnessing of releasing that pain. Because what happened for me, I would say, is that once I released that, I was still telling myself that I was the victim. So I was still telling myself the sob stories. And it's like, and even if I had done the release, I was justifying it. Like I had to be strong for myself,
Yeah.
or I had to whatever. So because no one helped me, or like, you know, this is my journey. But yeah, once I realized, like, oh my gosh, why am I even still victimizing myself? They weren't even around anymore, yet I still,
Uh,
right?
where,
I
yeah,
still
yeah,
was just
yeah.
like, yeah, in the valley of despair. I love that term, valley of despair. So
Uh,
anyway,
it's stuck in my head now. Yeah.
yeah, it does. And I've gotten to, I mean, it's a work in progress. It never ends. But
Yeah.
I'm in a place that, I've had several instances, even in this last year,
Mhm.
that I ran into some of these people, and I was
Mhm.
at such peace with them. I didn't run away, right?
Mhm.
Because I remember the genuine relationship we did have with each other before,
Mhm.
before the craziness happened. And so when I looked at that individual, I saw them as that, not of what
Mhm.
I tell myself they had done to me, because at the end of the day, I allowed them to corrupt me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
really, they did it, right? Because
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
even know that they're doing it. But in my mind, that's what I told myself was happening. So
Oh my
yeah,
God.
it takes some work, but it's really cool to have that peace and not
Mhm.
have any reaction,
Yeah.
to that situation. It's kind of cool, and it's kind of funny to see them struggle. Nah, I'm just kidding.
That is, oh my gosh, that is so real. I feel like you just described a lot of what I also went through, like that victimizing of yourself. I'm not well balanced enough yet. I'm too far on the other side of the spectrum where now I don't see myself as the victim, but I think I'm being too hard on myself. Like,
Yeah.
we're in the vein of compassion. That's what I'm still working on. Now I'm really hard on myself, and I only blame myself. I beat myself up way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Um and it's trying to find that middle ground, because both are true, right? You
Mm-hmm.
were hurt, but you also had choices that you could have made and that you
Correct.
didn't, and it just led me to this different area. So that's cool to hear. I like that you found peace. I feel like I'm working toward that peace, because if I saw my people, I'd be like, you know?
You'd be running the other way, right?
Yeah, I would be. I feel like, no, 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 I'm not facing you today. Not there.
So this morning, I actually was, and it's not me. It's my guides love to talk to me early in the morning. So I got up at 2 o'clock. I mean, okay, whatever. Like,
I saw your text at 2 o'clock, and I was like, girl,
I
what are you
know.
doing?
Yeah. So, but I wasn't awakened because I wanted to. My guides had to tell me something, and even if I had sent you a text, and Eileen as well, who's watching this podcast here, but my guides gave me this visualization, and I think it is a great part of the segment to introduce what was given to me today.
Okay.
So you take a look at a seesaw, right? The seesaw titter, it goes this way or that way, right? If
Mhm.
even if it's just by yourself, you can one from one end, it tips this way, you go to the other end, it's gonna tip
Mhm.
that way. But if you just stand in the middle,
Mhm.
right? you're just balancing it. But there's the law of polarity where there is good and there's bad in all that we do. We cannot avoid that. That's just the law of polarity. And so think of it as, if you can get the visual, even if you're teetering, you're going this way and you're going that way for your healing, what that really is doing is just think of, the infinity sign or the 8, right? You're doing this. It's energy. You're doing this. You're going back and forth and you're creating that energy, right?
Oh, I love
But
that. Yeah.
even if it seems like it's just your own, it's not linear. So you're really not going back and forth. You're creating this energetic flow. And then but time is moving, so reimagine that it's circling this way and you're still doing this and you're still doing that and you're still doing this, going, and it comes to a full circle, right? If you were to put a pen to paper to show those dimensions after a full circle of that, what do you have? You have the sacred geometry of the flower of life. Think about it.
Sorry, I'm like very visual, so you're creating such a cool image in my head right now.
Like, so the infinity, the 8, right? It just goes like this. But imagine that it's still moving, but it's moving in a circle, and you're drawing that. Right? And you end up creating the sacred geometry, the flower of life, and that is what it is.
Really cool. I love that you got that from the image of a seesaw. That is so cool.
Right? That's what my guides told me to share today. I know it's going to sit, but don't let me forget that. That needs to go in the next book. But we have to go to our next break. All right. We'll continue after this break.
Cool.
Everything we're made of contains light. From the sun that feeds our world to the energy that flows within us. With LifeWave X39, we've found a way to put that light to work. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality. By gently stimulating the skin with light, our non-invasive, non-transdermal X39 patches help you conquer your active lifestyle and pave a new way to vibrant health. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. It all starts with your body and a little help from light. Place one LifeWave X39 patch on the body. Apply the patch to clean, dry skin in the morning. Patches may be worn for up to 12 hours before discarding. Keep well hydrated while using this product. Harness your natural potential. Reclaim youthful energy. Live long, live well, live young with LifeWave X39. Be the light. LifeWave.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, this serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. It's time to unlock your inner glow with Coolness. Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
All right, and we are back. Thank you. That was pretty cool. Okay.
Oh, that was cool. I'm gonna remember the flower of life and the seesaw.
So, summing up the movie, at the end of the movie, The Cleanse, they did end up, destroying their pain, and immediately well, actually, I want to go back to that. So
Uh-huh.
it was a forced, kind of a forced decision to make that quick decision to actually get rid of their pain, right, and kill it.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I want to point out that it was the woman who had the strength to do it first. I have to point that out.
She did. No, she really did. Yeah, yeah.
You know, and the guy, right, he, you know, he was a really good person, but it was it was pretty cool that he followed her suit, right? Like he
Yeah.
knew that that was the right thing to do. But as soon as that was done, they got rid of it.
Mhm.
There was that immediate shift,
Mhm.
and that they were able to actually look at each other in the eyes, right? Because before that, there was such shame in looking
Yeah.
at someone in the eye, right? Because they were holding on to their guilt. So that was a really quick release. So
Mhm.
for me, when I look at this, it's like, okay, the willingness to release, and then there's also what was the other word I used? Shoot, the word I used? Oh,
Yeah.
witnessing that it happened. And then the last part of it is the integration, right? Because we have to have something that we know we are, so that we don't feel like that we've erased too much of ourselves, that we still
Mhm.
hold true to our identity.
Yeah.
And so the integration part, I mean, I'm still researching this, and I'm trying to find the way, because I really want to get rid of that piece of
Mhm.
the process. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
think that is necessary, because the integration takes so, like, I just, it has to be instant. There has to be a way to do it. But I
Yeah.
think those limiting beliefs are still a roadblock to have that quick integration, right, for us.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, even if we do the first two and we don't
Mhm.
have something to attach, a new identity to attach to,
Mhm.
then I would say 50% of us fall back into the old ways, and we have to start the process all over again. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I think I think the same thing. I think that idea of like not having that identity and makes it confusing. I was thinking in the movie, do you think they were operating as strangers even to themselves because that negativity was now out of their body, or whatever that was out of their body? Like I kept thinking like, okay, who are they now that that thing left their body? Like, do they know?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and there were vulnerable parts because they were sharing, you know, why they were there. They were acknowledging things that they went through.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of cool because it's like they were almost able to do that because that stuff was out of their body.
Mm-hmm.
So I do love that part. I love that like you said, she is the one who decided to like, go after it. But I love that, you know, him he was and I feel like he was only able to do that too because he was purged, cleansed. Otherwise, if he still had that thing in his body, he would have kept it. He would have like held on and whatever. And I was thinking like sometimes you do need an outside person
Mm-hmm.
to tell you, hey, I see this. It needs
Mm-hmm.
to go, or like you gotta do something. It was making me think that for me, I think that thing is when I realized that I was the one that was harming other people in my healing
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, I was projecting a lot of stuff that I was going through onto them, and it wasn't it wasn't good. Like, calm your ass down, Elisa. Like you need to slow it down. These are your problems.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know what it would look like to get rid of that. But a part of me feels like actually what you were talking about, the seesaw, you know, let's say you do cleanse that thing and you get rid of it. It could always come back, like the seesaw. That's what I was seeing in my mind was we can heal and then life happens. We'll get traumatized again. And then maybe, you know, the bounce of the seesaw won't be so extreme, but you're
Mm-hmm.
still going to teeter totter on it because you have to heal. You have to cleanse whatever that next thing is that happened, and the next thing, and the next thing. And that's, at least when you were talking about, I was like, oh, that's really cool because that's life. You just
Mm-hmm.
described. life is constantly be cleansing, as you said. So I'm like, maybe a part of it is acknowledging that we're always gonna have this creature that's gonna manifest itself over and over and over again, and we're just gonna have to get into the practice of, I don't know, both the the new person and the old person, and maybe that is just the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and then that's the misconception, right? When we're looking for self-healing, that we think that once we get to a certain point, that's it. But the
Mhm.
self-healing is a continuous journey. And so I'm going to use the seesaw analogy again, because
Yeah.
you brought up two good things about the couple, right?
Mhm.
So the guy, he was able to do it not only because he had a witness to watch him go through this
Mhm.
process, so that he had the validity, right, that
Mhm.
he's a survivor of it. But he was also, again, it's about the environment, because he was with someone that was willing to make that change as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But then going back to the seesaw, so I'm going to compare this to the dynamics I have with my son and my daughter, right? So let's visualize the three of us on the seesaw, and we can all start off in the middle, right? We're all
Mhm.
grounded, but then life is happening, so one is going this way, the other one is going this way, this one's crossing over, and we're all right, right. And it's just a constant teetering, right, going this way, that way, all of us. But for me as the mother, when they're, either one of us actually, when one is bouncing more on whatever, one of us still can be in the middle and be grounded. And that's, so just visualize yourself, you're in the middle and you're grounding, and the more you get grounded, right, it's like a tree growing, right? The more you can grow your roots, get deeper to the bottom, the less friction that there's going to be. So that's what grounding is. And it's like, no matter what's happening around me, even
Mhm.
my kids are going this way and that way, it's still creating that circle
Yeah,
of life,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm still in my power. And like, to me, that's the visual of what peace is, right? Peace is not about, when you're dealing with conflict, that you know how to respond and what the right choices are. Peace is being able to stand there even if someone is giving you all the attitude in the world, and not have a reaction at all, at all. You're not processing it, because there's nothing to process. It's just, you recognize this person is having a day, and that's not a part of you, because you chose it to not be a part of yourself. And that's the only way I can create a visual of what good grounding is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh, I love
So,
that visual. I just had a moment as you were talking where I was like, oh, grounding.
right?
It
Yeah.
like it just hit for me what grounding is, and that visual, it helps a ton. I'm gonna be using that all day. Not all day. I'm gonna be using that forever now, because you hear the term grounding, but you know when a word is just a word
Yeah.
and it doesn't necessarily stick.
Mm-hmm.
But you gave me a visual now, so now I get to visualize what I'm trying to achieve.
Good. And then I think the one thing you and I both have in common is music, right? I mean,
Mhm.
music has just always been a part of our bloodline.
Yeah.
And sound healing, you know, it contributes to our vibrations. And
Mhm.
I really want to explore that a little bit more this year on the sound healing. But
Mhm.
so again, still imagine yourself, you're grounded in your roots.
Mhm.
But when you have, the right resonance and the music that you're surrounded
Mhm.
by, you're still going to grow, right? The tree still grows and
Yeah.
flourishes. And then there's the shedding of the leaves, right? That's the
Mhm.
release. But then it still continues to grow again, no matter what, as
Mhm.
long as you continue to nourish yourself in all the right ways. So, yeah, good. I'm glad you pick up on that analogy that I
It works well.
Yeah, like these kinds of things come to me early in the morning, and sometimes I write it down, sometimes I share it, and then sometimes I think, oh, I remember I had that
Good
thought,
thought.
but I forgot to write it down.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
glad I was able to share it today.
yeah.
Okay, so what else? I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about the movie, or even like what about the people that created the program, that doctor? What's your take on him?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know. I felt like I ended up needing to kind of put that aside as I was watching for a moment because the way that they presented it was so I don't think was the right intention because it came off very culty.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and I don't think that's the point of the movie. So I had to like put that out of my mind because just the way that they presented it was very culty, which is like what you run from. But I was
Right.
like, but that's not the point. And what I was actually thinking was that if what they were presenting um, was actually more genuine, and because I think this is what's important, right? Is what when the way that you present healing to a person matters because that's the line between a cult and like actual healing because
Mm-hmm.
and I think because it's a horror they had to present it that way, but it was
Mm-hmm.
just reminding me that the way that you present something and the way that you approach people matters.
Right.
um, because I just had to minus them out because they just existed in the realm of we're doing this for you, but not actually. It felt very like power driven. Like he got some kind of
Mm-hmm.
sick power of like I'm gonna heal these people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I just had to take it out. I was like that didn't fit for me. That's the part that was very horror um, for me.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe they just couldn't do it for themselves, but they saw something working, and maybe they were like trying to get um, I don't know, fix themselves to other people. Even I don't
Yeah, and
know.
I think that's an awareness that we need to have overall. And yes, I mean you're right, it is projecting. The awareness that there is a lot of commercialization about holistic healing, wellness, right? And everyone wants to jump on the bandwagon. And yes, we all want to, we all want to have that healing experience, and then when we experience it for ourselves just a smidgen, right, we want to share it with the world, and that's all well intended, but
Mhm.
again, it's like we have to be careful in who we follow and why we're following it. And even as a person that's approaching it, that's presenting this solution, again,
Mhm.
we have to just share what we found, because there's many different modalities, there's many different programs that can work for anyone, but at the
Mhm.
end of the day they have to have that belief system that it's going to work for them.
Yeah.
But we share, right, we just share what's out there, what our experience is, and we need to leave space and room for the people to choose. Again, they have to be willing to want to take whatever it is that's out there, whether it's something that you shared or someone else shared, right? Because again, if they don't have that willingness and they don't have that belief system, it's not going to work for them. And it
Yeah.
could be,
Yeah.
but there's some really great programs out there, but you also have some other people that have different intentions. That's kind of what came across in the movie as well, right? Because
Mhm.
the doctor, um, admitted that he himself didn't finish the program on his own. He
I
needed the gal
know.
to kill his pain for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah. um you know what, we're going to continue on this wellness journey, and we're going to get
Mhm.
experience to many more things, because technology is advancing, and that's all well and good, right?
Mhm.
But just follow your intuition, do your homework, and just make sure that's the right thing for you. And if it resonates for you, do it, and don't mind the opinions of other people, because they are not understanding. They don't have all the information that you have in your
Mhm.
back pocket to make that decision for yourself. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Um, this is a great thing to end with.
Yeah. But thank you, Alyssa. I mean, I really appreciate you. I know you have to go to work, but I'm going to close this out. We have to end this, but it's been very enlightening, and I hope that you found some value in the conversations we had today. I'm going to say give yourself some time to process and integrate the things that we talked about today because it's a lot. I mean, you're going to reflect on it and you're going to be like, oh, shit.
It's gonna be the whole thing. This was a
Yeah.
great way to start the morning, I think, actually. So thank you. I mean, it was
Yeah.
really fun. This is my jam. Louise, my jam. Love it.
Awesome. And then yes, and then our hidden gal there, she'll join us on the next one. But so let me close this out and I find my paper. If today's episode spoke to you, you don't do it alone. Book a free consult with one of our expert coaches at chronichealthcollective.com for personalized support. Subscribe to our monthly magazine for expert tips from our 11 coaches to elevate your health, mindset, and relationships. Catch us live Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time or watch past episodes anytime on E360 TV or youtube.com at Chronic Health Collective. Thank you for tuning in. Your transformation starts now, and we'll see you next week. Aloha!